Hey, 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 hey. SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd all the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care what the team doing, man. They ain't messing with the perp gang. It's our year, time to get this ring. Bring it home back to the SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd all the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care. SKOL'd to the bowl. Whole lot of SKOL'd gang on this one. Yeah, hey, 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 hey. SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd all the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care what the team doing, man. They ain't messing with the perp gang. It's our year, time to get this ring. Bring it home back to the SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang, SKOL'd gang. SKOL'd all the way to the bowl, man. My team about to go get a ring. We don't care.
What is going on? Good morning, everybody. And we have some big news today. If you haven't noticed already, the Minnesota Vikings trade for the number 23 pick in this year's draft with the Houston Texans. Let's get a horn for that one. Let's get a Ric Flair and a two claps. Two claps and a Ric Flair, excuse me.
And a Ric Flair.
There we go. So we're feeling good this morning. We are gearing up to trade up for a quarterback. I don't think we have any doubt about it. How's it going, guys? Too evil to hope. Already talking about trading JJ. I'm not even going to put your comment up. Too evil to hope. We're not talking about trading JJ. We're gearing up to get JJ a quarterback. That's what we're doing. So what's up, Two-Tone Tony? Thank you for coming in. Appreciate the support. Everybody tapping in with me today on YouTube, Facebook, and as well on X/Twitter. We appreciate y'all coming through, man. Again, this is a big, big morning for the Minnesota Vikings. We knew a move was going to come. We knew we were going to trade up for a quarterback. It was just a matter of time. I wasn't expecting it to happen this early. Well, we didn't necessarily trade up, but this is kind of leading up to us trading up in this year's draft and drafting one of the top 3, top 4 quarterbacks. I know we all got our preference. Some like J.J. McCarthy, some like May. Some love Jaden Daniels, and some people are still thinking we're going to have a chance at Caleb Williams. I'm going to tell you right now, Caleb Williams is not in the cards, and that's not our fault. That's Chicago. Chicago's going to draft Caleb Williams, and it's just a matter of time. They just can't find a trade suitor for Justin Fields. Skol Mafia, it's happening today. Watch. No, I wouldn't say it's happening today, but we will talk about maybe when it could happen and what it's going to take to trade up to one of these picks. So, I mean, we can get right into it if you can ask me. So, I'm going to tell you right now, like I said, number 1 overall, you're not getting. The Chicago Bears are drafting Caleb Williams. They're gearing up. They're loading up at that receiver core with Keenan Allen. I believe they signed a couple other guys to plug and play in there for Caleb Williams. He's going to have plenty of weapons. But that number 2, number 3, and number 4 and 5 are open. Now, Washington, I'm thinking they're going to go quarterback with the number 2 pick. I don't see them trading out of that. And I think they're leaning towards a Jaden Daniels. So that leaves the New England Patriots at 3, the Arizona Cardinals at 4, and the LA Chargers at number 5. If you were to ask me which one's more realistic of where we could trade up to, I'm going to say number 5. Because I think the New England Patriots are going to go grab a quarterback as well. I believe did they grab Brissett in free agency? I don't think they're going to roll Brissett out there to start the entire year. So I think number 5 is the more realistic possibility for the Minnesota Vikings. If you look at the other teams that are suited to trade up for a quarterback, it's the Broncos, it's the Raiders, and you'd probably say the Saints. But 2 of those teams are in the LA Chargers division. They are not going to trade within the division, especially if it's for Jim Harbaugh's guy, J.J. McCarthy. There's no way in hell Jim Harbaugh is going to agree with a trade with the Denver Broncos or the Las Vegas Raiders for them to go grab J.J. McCarthy or Drake May, whoever it may be. He's not going to set them up to go grab their quarterback of the future. That means that the Vikings are in the driver's seat and probably have a step ahead of those 2 teams with the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, We can look at pick 4 with the Arizona Cardinals. I know a lot of people are kind of throwing them out there as the team to possibly trade up for. I don't see that happening. I think Arizona is dead set on getting Marvin Harrison Jr., unless New England somehow changes their mind and decides to go wide receiver with their number 3 pick. I think Arizona is crossing their fingers and planning on grabbing Marvin Harrison Jr. at the number 4 pick, give Kyler Murray a weapon, a legitimate wide receiver 1. So I think that's what Arizona is going to do, unless you offer them some huge haul to move up to number 4, which is possible. You have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft now. It's possible. But if you were to ask me, I'm going to lean towards pick 5 with the Los Angeles Chargers. And what is it going to take to get up to number 5? Now, if you want to look at prior reference, we can go right back to last year in the 2023 draft when the Texans moved up with the Arizona Cardinals to grab the number 3 pick. What it cost them was the 12th overall pick, the 33rd overall pick, which was beginning of the second round last year, this year's first, and this year's third. Now, that was to move up from 12 to 3. Granted, they moved up to grab a defensive end, which it may cost a little bit more, knowing that the team knows that you're moving up to grab a quarterback. So you may have to throw a pick or 2 extra in there. But let's not forget, this is 11 to 5. This isn't 12 to 3. So you may be looking at about the same compensation right there, give or take. So if you were to ask me what it would take to move up to number 5 to grab that Chargers pick, I would say it would take the 11th pick. It would take the 23rd overall pick, the one you just acquired from the Houston Texans. And I would say a third and possibly another 4th to throw in there, just to a little icing on the cake. I think you can move up to 5 and make that happen. You have 2 first-round picks this year. That's huge. That's huge. Now, I kind of skimmed by not going over the draft compensation that we gave up to get to number 23. But the Vikings received the 23rd overall pick and the 232nd overall pick. The Texans received from the Vikings our second round pick, which is pick 42, pick 188 in this year's draft, and a 2025 second round pick. So what I love about this so much is that you're acquiring another first round pick in this year's draft, which is going to prove massive for you to move up to draft your quarterback. But on top of that, you don't mortgage your future to move up and grab one of these guys. You don't give up another first round pick to move up and grab one of these guys. Now, depending how far you want to move up, who knows? One of these teams in the top 3 could have a change of heart. Washington could say, you know what? Let me chill a little bit. Let's trade back. Let's get to number 11. Let's see who falls. I doubt that happens. I think New England would be more realistic to kind of change their mind and say, you know what? Let's wait. I'm not a fan of one of these guys in the top 3. Maybe they were a big fan of Jaden Daniels. He's picked at number 2. They say, you know what? I'm not a big fan of Drake May. I'm not a big fan of JJ McCarthy. Let's just trade back and let's recoup ourselves. Go grab a quarterback in free agency, which there's not much out there, or through trade. Or they could just wait till next year in the draft to draft their quarterback of the future. But the draft's set for right now. And 1, 2, 3, in my opinion, are going quarterbacks, and I don't think they're trading out of those spots. Now, the kind of word on the street is that Drake May is falling, and JJ McCarthy may have jumped Drake May, which, if you guys know, I'm a huge JJ McCarthy fan. So I'm not against that. I could see JJ McCarthy jumping Drake May and getting picked 3rd overall, or possibly another team coming up and drafting him. And I could possibly see the Minnesota Vikings drafting JJ McCarthy before Drake May, but I could also see them drafting Drake May. And kind of the proofs in the pudding with the moves that we've been making for our, whether it be coaching staff or whether it be our backup quarterback and Sam Darnold. Obviously, the word's been around. There's been pictures around with our new quarterback coach, Josh McCown, coaching Drake May in high school. So they obviously have that relationship, that bond already. But when you look at a quarterback like Sam Darnold, he matches kind of the same type of gameplay that a guy like Drake May and a guy like JJ McCarthy provide. Now, They're obviously pass first quarterbacks, which you want in a quarterback. You don't want a Justin Fields who's just going to take off every time. But they're mobile as well. They can take off. They got some wheels. They got some speed. So bringing in a guy like Sam Darnold, and I see a lot of people getting caught up. Oh my God, JJ is going to want to get out of here. He's going to request a trade because he doesn't want to catch balls from Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's not going to be our starting quarterback. Now, he may be the first couple weeks, but we are gearing up for a top 3, top 4 quarterback in this draft. And if you move up in the first round to grab a quarterback, you are not sitting him for very long, if any. So all this Sam Darnold's our starting quarterback, this is terrible. Of course, he's not better than Kirk Cousins. Relax. He's not our starting quarterback for the entire year. It's a bridge quarterback for a reason. I don't care what Kwesi said in his press conference yesterday. He is a bridge quarterback for a reason. He won't be the starter for long. He's there to get our rookie quarterback ready. And if anything happens with our rookie quarterback, we have a viable backup in Sam Darnold. Plain and simple. So let me get to some of these comments. Welcome everybody that's joining on X, on Twitter. I'm not sure if your comments are able to pop up here. But Don Cabral, hopefully I said the last name right. Fleece New England getting us Daniels or May. I don't know, man. Like I said, I think New England may be going quarterback. Unless they have a something in the cards where they say, you know what, let's go get Marvin Harrison Jr. and worry about the quarterback position later. But if you have an opportunity at a top 3 quarterback in this year's draft, and this is, being considered as one of the best quarterback drafts in a long time, I don't think you pass up on that opportunity. So, in my opinion, we're looking at J.J. McCarthy or Drake May. And it really depends on who the New England Patriots decide to go for on that 3rd overall pick. They may like J.J. McCarthy more than they like Drake May. And then whoever's left over, I'm completely fine with. If we get any of the top 4 quarterbacks in this draft, I will be happy. And you can tell Kwesi is gearing up with that, with acquiring this 23rd overall pick. And again, I love the trade because you're not mortgaging your future. You're not giving up another first-round pick. Now, you may have to give up another first-round pick to move up, but I don't think it's going to take that much. Again, we could go back to last year's draft with the Cardinals moving back with the Houston Texans, who we just traded with at 23. They give up the 3rd overall pick to the Texans. They received the 12th overall pick, 33rd second-round pick, and the 1st and a 3rd in 2024. That's 2 first-round picks, a 2nd, and a 3rd. That's moving up from 12 to 3, guys. I think it'll take our 2 first-round picks today. And Grant, hey, we may sit back and say, you know what? We want to keep the 23rd pick in this year's draft. And they give up the number 11 pick this year. They give up a first-round pick next year because it's going to take 2 first-round picks. Let's just set it right now. It's going to take 2 first-round picks to move up in this draft, regardless. So whether it be the number 23 pick this year or whether it be your first-round pick in the 2025 draft, you're going to have to give up a first-round pick. But if you were to ask me what Kwesi's thinking, he's going to pair the number 11 pick. He's going to pair the number 23 pick, and he's probably going to throw on 1 or 2 more picks in there. It could be a 3rd, could be a 4th. Well, it's going to take a 3rd, and it's probably going to take another 4th and possibly another late round pick to throw in there to get up into the top 5. But you're not mortgaging your future. If you wait till draft day and you just hold on to the number 11 pick and you say, okay, now I want to move up. Now I want to move up from 11 to 5. Now you're backed into a corner. Teams know you need a quarterback. They know you're desperate, and they're going to fleece you any possibly way they can. So if you contact the Chargers and say, look, you're on the clock here. I got the number 11 pick. Let me throw next year's first. Let me throw next year's second. Let me throw the year after that's first. That's 3 straight first-round picks that you're giving up to move up 6 spots. Now, you kind of have to do it. You need a quarterback here, unless you want to roll with Sam Darnold for the rest of the year, which some of you guys are kind of cool with that. I'm not. I want my quarterback of the future. Let's get that seamless transition. We got off of Kirk Cousins, and then we're going to move, boom, right into our quarterback of the future. Go get your guy. Spend what it takes. But I don't think it's going to take as much as what people think. You're already offering 2 first-round picks. That 23rd overall pick is a very good pick. We've been picking at 22, 23, 21 for it seems like the past few years. So package that 11, package that 23, and then go up and get your quarterback of the future. Plain and simple. Oh, wow. We got some breaking NFL news. It's not Vikings related, but we have some breaking NFL news. I don't know if you guys have got the notification yet, but Rams superstar Aaron Donald has announced his retirement. Aaron Donald has announced his retirement. I know that's not Vikings news. This is a Vikings podcast, but that is a NFL superstar. It's kind of been in the atmosphere for a few years now about Aaron Donald kind of contemplating retirement, but he finally announces it officially. Aaron Donald is retiring from the NFL. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Big move. Big move there. Big loss for the Los Angeles Rams as well. But moving on back to the Vikings. Got to move up, got to draft your quarterback of the future. What it's going to take, I say at the 11, the 23rd, and I say a 3rd and a 4th. And I think that gets you the number 5 pick. I think it does. Because you look at the Chargers, side of things. They move back to 11. They need weapons for Justin Herbert. But on top of that, Harbaugh, he builds it from the trenches. And every time we talk about Harbaugh, I kind of cringe because he should be our damn head coach right now. I love Kevin O'Connell, don't get me wrong. But every time I bring up Jim Harbaugh, I just say a little damn it in my head because he should be our head coach and we should be building in the trenches right now. But Harbaugh is going to build through the trenches and he's going to want to draft some weapons for Justin Herbert. 2 first-round picks in this year's draft, pick 11 and pick 23, could get you that. Because you look at pick 11 there, you're looking at one of the top pass rushers, whether that be Jared Verse, whether that be Dallas Turner if he falls to pick 11. But on top of that, you're looking at some of the top weapons in this year's draft as well, outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., who we obviously know isn't going to fall that far to 11. But you got a guy like Malik Neighbors out of LSU, big-time receiver that should be there at pick 11. And if he's not there at pick 11, you got a big-time best tight end in this draft and best tight end we've seen in a long time come out of college, and Brock Bowers out of Georgia. Those are 2 weapons that the Chargers need. And if those guys aren't there, like I said, you have top defensive line edge rushers that are going to be available at pick 11. So if I'm the Chargers, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, wait, I can move back 6 spots. I can still draft a top weapon in this draft or a top pass rusher in this draft, which, side note, they retain their 2 pass rushers in Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. So they may be looking at interior defensive line. Maybe looking at a guy, Newton, out of Illinois. They may be looking at Byron Murphy out of Texas to solidify the middle of that defensive line, which, again, Jim Harbaugh is huge on the trenches. So if I'm the Chargers and I'm looking at this draft compensation I could possibly get back for the number 5 overall pick from the Minnesota Vikings, I'm taking it and I'm running with it. Obviously, you're going to try and squeeze every bit of juice out of that lemon, but number 11 and number 23 is a very, very attractive compensation to get back for pick 5. Move back 6 spots, get pick 11, grab one of these top weapons in the draft, and then go and build in the trenches at pick 23, whether that be offense or defensive line. So Kwesi making a great move. I love it. Kwesi is cooking. Now, Kwesi ain't always cooking, in my opinion, and he's not the best drafter from his first 2 drafts. Now, granted, 2023 was better than 2022. Let's hope 2024 is better than 2023 and we continue to progress and get better within the draft. But if you're not a good drafter, F them picks. Fuck them picks. Trade them away. Go get your guys. Let's just hope we get the quarterback right. Let's get the most important position right at quarterback. So if you do move up, you better be sure that's the right guy. Now, I'm the big JJ McCartney fan. I will ride for him for all of eternity. I'm also a Michigan fan, so there may be a little bit of bias there. But if you don't feel like JJ McCarthy's a guy, if you don't feel like Drake May's the guy, then hey, you have 2 first-round picks this year. Hold pat, pick a top pass rusher or a top interior defensive lineman. Interior defensive lineman is going to be a huge need for the Minnesota Vikings in this draft, whether it be at one of those picks, which I think we trade them, or later on in the draft, which this draft is actually very rich of interior defensive linemen. You got Chris Jenkins out of Michigan. Again, another Michigan guy. You got Sweat out of Texas. You got Murphy out of Texas. You got Newton out of Illinois. You got a lot of guys that are going to be available, whether it be second, third round. And I know a lot of people, well, we traded our second round pick. I know a lot of people are looking at that second round pick next year and saying, we're not going to have our second round pick. Chances are we're getting some compensatory picks with the DJ Woonem signing. And if KJ Osborne signs somewhere, and I know we're going to hear a lot of KJ Osborne jokes because he had a really bad year last year. If he signs somewhere, those are 2 compensatory picks that we can bundle and trade right back up into the second round next year. But this is a good draft to draft interior defensive linemen later in the draft, whether it be the third round or possibly you can move up back into the second round and grab one of those guys, which I could see. But you got to go and get your quarterback of the future, though. Spider Beavis. I think it's Spider Beavis. Yeah, I'm hoping for McCarthy. I am too, but I'll be honest with you, man. I'm good with McCarthy. I'm good with May. It's looking like we're gearing up to possibly go after Drake May. Compensatory. Yeah, my bad. Compensatory. Thank you for the correction. But no, I'm good with McCarthy. I'm good with May. Either one, man. I like both of their games. I prefer JJ McCarthy. He's a younger guy. He may have to sit a couple more games. If you draft Drake May, he's starting week 1. Plain and simple. You can't sit there and say, hey, Sam Darnold's going to be our starter, and then we're just going to work in Drake May, even though we traded up and drafted him at number 5. JJ McCarthy, you got a little bit of wiggle room there because he is only 21 years old. If he sits for half the season, he sits for half the season. That's okay. You don't want a guy to sit for half the season if you're picking top 5. If you're picking a quarterback top 5, you're not going to want him to sit half the season. But the guy's 21 years old. And I'm the biggest JJ McCarthy fan, but if you were to ask me, I feel like he needs a little time to sit back and kind of scope out the landscape, get used to the speed of the NFL, and then throw him in there. But if he starts week 1, make it a quarterback competition. I think Kwesi and KOC said this in the press conference yesterday, and don't quote me, but I believe they stated there was going to be a quarterback competition this offseason. So, yeah, getting coached by Harbaugh is a plus. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, Harbaugh should be the Minnesota Vikings head coach right now, and that's some political shit that a lot of us don't know about, but nonetheless, KOC is our coach. But going from Harbaugh to an offensive guy like KOC and a guy that's extremely supportive of his quarterback like KOC and surrounding him not just with a guy like KOC, but also with a guy like Josh McCown. But the Josh McCown hiring kind of, if I were to put money on it, Drake May is the guy we're targeting here. Drake May is definitely the guy we're targeting here, especially if he seems like he's falling in this draft. A lot of reports are coming out. JJ McCarthy's going to jump Drake May. So, but you're going to have to get up to that pick 5 if you want one of these quarterbacks. Another report came out this morning that the New York Giants are big fans of JJ McCarthy. And if he's there at pick 6, they're taking him. So you got to get up to pick 5, because if you don't get up to pick 5, a team like the Saints, a team like the Raiders, a team like the Broncos could possibly move up. It's going to take them a lot more to give to the Chargers because it is in division. They're going to have to give up an extra first-round pick. Harbaugh's not going to budge off of that. He's not just going to give up the number 5 overall pick to a division rival so they can go get their quarterback of the future. They're going to have to give up some more picks. So you are in the driver's seat. There's 4 top quarterbacks in this draft. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and J.J. McCarthy. There's 4 major quarterbacks, top quarterbacks in this draft. After those top 4, I believe there's a drastic drop-off between them and Bo Nix and Michael Penix. You shouldn't even be considering those guys at this point. Shouldn't even be considering those guys at this point. You have 2 first-round picks this year. You go up and you trade for one of those top 4 guys. And you are the 4th team on this list in order. So you got your top 3 teams who obviously are going to draft quarterbacks, but you're the fourth team that's a QB needy team. There's 4 quarterbacks in this draft. You're going to have to trade up and get them. You're going to have to trade up and get them regardless. Whether it's Drake May, whether it's J.J. McCarthy, you're going to have to go up and get one of these guys. And it's obvious with this move that we made this morning, the Vikings acquiring the 23rd overall pick from the Houston Texans. The writing's on the wall, guys. The Minnesota Vikings are going to trade up for a quarterback in the 2024 draft, and it is right around the corner. So keep your eyes peeled. Watch those pro days because it's been a long, long time since the Minnesota Vikings have been right in the mix for a top quarterback in the draft. It's been a really long time. The last time the Vikings traded up to get a quarterback in the first round was Teddy Bridgewater, but that was at the end of the first round. The last time we drafted a quarterback this high, if not higher, was Christian Ponder at pick 12, if I'm not mistaken, which we're not going to sit here and talk about Christian Ponder. We're not going to talk about that. But before that, it was Dante Culpepper at pick 11. Never picked a quarterback in the top 5. Here's our opportunity. Go and do it. Do something we've never done before as a franchise. Never. I'm not saying this is going to work and this is going to get us our Super Bowl, but this is a step in the right direction. Go get your quarterback. And on top of that, this whole Justin Jefferson contract talk, we're showing them right now, hey, JJ, we're being aggressive. We're going to get you a quarterback. Let's sign this contract. I don't care what it takes. $32, $33 million per year. Go and do it. Go sign your future Hall of Fame wide receiver. The guy's still young. I don't want to hear the comparisons about Randy Moss and Percy Harvin. Those were 2 disgruntled wide receivers. They didn't want to be in Minnesota. They wanted to be out of here, and we were forced to trade them. The only thing that's forcing us not to sign Justin Jefferson is money. And we got plenty of it coming up. Pay the guy, get your quarterback of the future. You got 2 first-round picks. Make it happen. And with the move that Kwesi made today, I have no question that Kwesi's planning on trading up in this year's draft and drafting a quarterback. So exciting times if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan. First time in history we could be drafting a quarterback in the top 5. That's fun to talk about, guys. So this next month and a half, whoo, stay tuned. Purple and Skull Media. This is your boy SK. Man, gotta love it. So appreciate you guys tapping in. If you don't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on Purple and Skull Media. Gotta give me another horn. Great decision by Kwesi. Gotta love it. Appreciate you. Until next time, I'll be around, man. Peace.